Welcome back, future product designers, to this beginner's course on how to use Autodesk Fusion 360. My name is Avya Jamadagni, and today we'll be focusing on creating new components from bodies and perhaps just an empty component, and we'll also be focusing on how you can manage your design history. So let's get right to it. So creating new components. Now the advantage of whenever you create something on Fusion 360, it's going to start off as a body, as you can see over here. Now you can leave it as a body. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's much harder to work with. For example, if you're extruding certain surfaces on the product, it's possible that instead of just choosing that one face that you want to extrude, you might actually select a whole bunch of other faces, and that's going to create various problems. Also, it's hard to apply different physical materials and appearances to it. So with that is why we usually work with components rather than bodies. So there are two ways you can create a component. First, you can click on new component up here, and that'll open up this box. So there are two types of components you can create. You can create an empty component, and you can create a from bodies component. Now, empty components are very useful if you're an organized person. So if you want, before you start off making your project or your product, and you know that there are going to be different components in it, you can create multiple empty components and work with the bodies and work by creating those components inside those specific folders. So that's if you're a very organized person. Otherwise, if you already have a body like we have here, then you choose the from bodies option. Now, what you do is you make sure that this is blue, and you can select your body, and that's it. And you go ahead and press OK, and that creates a new component over here. Now, the advantage of this component now is, the biggest one is you can actually move it around, as you can see over here. If I leave it, then it's not in its original position. Now, if I want to revert it back to its original position, all I need to do is click revert up here on the top right corner, and it brings it back to this position. Now, if I want it to stay in an other's position like this, I need to click on capture position. And that's very useful when I'm moving other components around, so I can see how they fit into another body, or maybe into another main structure. But for now, I want to revert it back to its original position. Now let's go ahead and rename this component to pencil holder and click enter. Now we've just renamed this. So now that we've done this, you can see that in our design history, it shows that we've converted a body to a component. Now, regarding the design history, so let's learn how to manage this properly. So as you have seen last lesson, we've created multiple extrudes that are shown over here, and we want to find a way to make this look more organized. So to make it more organized, we can do something called grouping. Grouping is when you select a bunch of these tiny little icons in your design history, and you group them together. Now, since there are multiple over here, all you need to do to select multiple at the same time is select the first one by just clicking on it, then hold down Shift and select the last one. Now you see all of these are selected together. Go ahead and right click on this, and it says create group. Let's go ahead and select that. So now you see your design history is a lot more organized, and you only have 3 here. Now the advantages of this is quite simple actually, because once you start making your product, you see your design history building up, and eventually it becomes so big it exceeds this, and you often have to scroll up and down to see where each of your parts is. And if you want to edit a certain part in your history, it becomes very hard to locate it as well. But if you group it down like this, all you need to do is select the plus arrow, and you see exactly what extrudes there you've done. And of course, if you remember exactly what you did, or you remember your process, it becomes much easier for you to understand what you need to select and how you can manipulate it. So this is the basics of creating groups in your design history. Now there are certain other options that we'll explore in the future regarding the design history, which is regarding how you can delete your or hide this design history, and this helps a lot in creating other structures that sorry, creating other structures based on the design history, but so that the design history cannot hinder with it. I know this kind of sounds confusing right now, but I'll explain more in the future in our next video when we're talking about creating rectangular and circular patterns and also applying fillets. So this brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for your time. And before we exit, let's go ahead and save this again. So to do that, let's go to our data panel. This opens this up, and right now it says version 3. So we know once we save this, it's going to turn into version 4. So let's go ahead and click save. Let's press OK. And now you see, after this is done loading, it will turn into version 4. As you can see over here. So now we've hit the data panel. Again, thank you so much for your time, guys. It's been lovely talking to you guys again. And see you next lesson. Have a wonderful day.